because we can't do much to the bike, that's why I'm putting Bobby on a workout program. Uh, just a quick summary of what we do. I'm a personal injury law firm here in Texas, but I mean, we could essentially take business anywhere, but preferably in Texas. I'm a glorified ambulance chaser, so if you get in a car accident and you get injured, we'd love to help them out. We sponsor Bobby and a couple other racers there in Moto America, and for us, it's all about marketing. I'm very passionate about what they do, and Bobby is such a great person. We wouldn't be involved in Moto America, but if it wasn't for him and just his work ethic and what he's been able to do with everything, I couldn't pour enough money into it. I mean, I'm happy to support him as long as he wants to race, and I think eventually, we want to continue to build up this team. Next year, we're going to be at every race, and I want to continue to build it up and have a couple super bikes out there. Even though we'll be racing with them, we'll still be on stock bikes. But I mean, the sky's the limit with what we're doing, and we've been able to do a lot with very little, and we definitely will continue to push that forward.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Nice to virtually meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So you're Flo from Flo4Law.
I am.
Very good. And we're just waiting for Ricky Bobby.
Bobby, yeah, he should be up.
Very good.
So, where are you out of?
I live in Las Vegas now, in Nevada, just south of the Strip, a couple miles.
Okay. And are
originally from Michigan?
Oh wow. What do you do there in Vegas?
I'm a racing coach for sports cars, exotics racing, at a place called Speed Vegas.
Okay. I'm assuming it's a good track.
Yeah, it's good. It's like a 1.3 mile road course, so we have lefts and rights. A little bit of elevation. It's pretty flat though. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of different vehicles to choose from. We call it more of an experience than a racing school, but we do also have, more high performance driving experience, stuff like that too.
Oh, cool.
But I'd say probably majority of our students are first time ever on a racetrack. So
yeah,
you get everybody from Formula One drivers to your grandma and everybody in between.
Oh, really? Have you ever ridden with a Formula One driver?
Some of the guys at our team have. I have not, but I definitely coach racers of all different series. It's pretty interesting. You never know what you're going to get when you step in the car with a random person from the street.
Yeah. What kind of cars are y'all driving?
So we have a fleet of 23. One of those in the shop getting a new engine right now. So I'm coaching in Acura, Audi, Aston Martin, the Corvette C8. There's the Ferrari F430, the Lamborghini Gallardo, Ferrari 488, the Huracan Lamborghini. There's the Shelby GT500, like 4 or 5 different Porsches. Like we have GTS. We used to have the GTS. Now we have GT4, GT3, GT3 RS, and GT2 RS.
Oh wow.
And I'm sure there's 1 or 2 cars I'm missing in there. But the Nissan GTR, Maserati MC20, Mercedes, AMG GTR, things like that. What's going on, Bobby?
What's up? Can y'all hear me good?
I can hear you. You look good to me.
Awesome. I had to stop at my nearest Hampton Inn to get some Wi-Fi.
There you go. Yeah, I was having some technological issues. I think it's about time for me to get a new computer for doing all this.
How you doing, Ricky Bobby?
Oh, pretty good.
That's a good name for you.
Yeah, so Bobby, we met, what was it, 13, 12 years ago now at Barber, I think it was, at the Grand National Finals.
Man, yeah, it's been a long time, huh?
Long time ago, yeah. When I first started racing, I think 2011 or 2012.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's been a lot of years.
For sure. And we became friends on social media after racing together. We were all fighting for national championships that weekend, and We both went our separate ways in racing. I was just talking to Flo, and I got into car coaching as well as motorcycle coaching. So I'm out in Vegas now and coaching with cars. A little stint with California Superbike, Sport Bike Track Time, been the MSF instructor for getting your license and all that stuff. Just trying to make it in the industry just like you are.
Yeah, there you go, Flo. Now you can go visit, take the Audi out.
Yeah, I have an R8 that I've been wanting to get on the track. I just don't want to screw up the tires because I've
Tires
seen
are
what Bobby does to
consumable.
his. What's that?
Tires are consumable parts. You're gonna go through those if you're really fast. Like how many sets do you go through a weekend, Bobby?
Typically, I mean, sometimes we try to conserve, but more than likely we go through at least for sure a set of race. So 2 races each weekend. Then you turn around and I don't know, a qualifying, 2 qualifying, so about 5 sets
Per weekend, right?
per weekend.
That's wild. That's what
Yeah.
it costs. That's what the entry fee is just to go fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, so our track, we don't actually allow you to bring your own vehicles. We provide a fleet, and we do have an Audi R8 anyway. You can use our tires.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect. Yeah, I'd rather roll your R8 than mine.
So roll meaning roll onto the track. We don't actually roll in barrel rolls.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
So it's our job as coaches. Like it's different from bikes to cars because in bikes we do more lead follow and talk before and after. We talk before and after in the cars too, but in the car I'm in the vehicle with you. So it's like I'm along for the ride too. So you get one-on-one coaching with somebody talking to you while it's happening versus on the bikes. I feel like I don't know of any coaching organization that uses intercom systems. It's all hand signals and pointing, right, Bobby?
Yep.
So I feel like having someone next to you is beneficial because you can see, or I can say, okay, you're wide here, and I don't have to say it 20 minutes later when you come off the track.
What's the how often are these students? Do these students ever crash while you're with them?
It has happened in our history, but I've coached almost 3,000 students so far in about almost a year now, and I've had 0 incidents.
Okay.
Yesterday was the first time one student touched his tire in the dirt and he sprayed gravel on the track. And that was my biggest incident so far. He dropped a tire off the track, but we kept going. It was the last lap. We just pulled in. I was like, okay, you can't do that anymore. But we're 3 turns from the exit, so
Yeah.
it wasn't really a big deal. But we had to shut down the track for 5 minutes to spray the gravel off the track. So we just had a blower come on with the ATV pulling it, and no damage.
So you're not doing motorcycles anymore?
I am doing boat bikes still, but I'm still USMCA certified for private coaching. Just looking for the right opportunity. I'm really just trying to find a budget for 2024 to race full time for bikes and go-karts.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, I know go-karts. I got into F1 recently, and I know go-karts, you think of just going to a go-kart track on the weekend as a kid, but I never realized how professional it is and how competitive it is in the go-kart route.
It's the same amount of money as bikes, really. I mean, you're talking for professional karting, USPKS or SCUSA, Superkarts USA, probably 8 to 10,000 a weekend to show up and race. With tires, you're going through sets of tires, you're going through all the consumables. Some of these people show up in semi trucks, for go karting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's big stuff. So
Bobby, hopefully let's just stick to the motorcycles for now.
I've always wanted to race cars. That's what got me into racing in general. Just could never afford cars, so racing motorcycles was the closest, cheapest thing compared to racing cars. So
yep. And that's the exact reason why I went down motorcycle route, because you can get a $10,000 bike motorcycle that can go 160, 200 miles an hour, depending on which one you pick, versus a car you're spending 6 figures to get the same speed.
yeah, it's wild.
So I just did a 3-hour endurance go-kart race with a coworker of mine at our work. We have the off-road stuff for dirt. We have go-karts, and we also have the supercar road racing. So we have three
I
different.
I didn't get no invite on that.
You can come anytime. We have another race coming up Sunday, Sunday the 17th. It's a sprint race, not a 3-hour. So a lot quicker. They do qualify race 1, race 2 for a main at the end. It's a lot of fun. It's not that expensive. I think it's like $90. The 3 hours, of course, more expensive, but you get a lot of track time either way, and it's a blast. They go about the 270cc go-karts, so they're going about 50 miles an hour. They're faster than your standard indoor go-kart track karts.
So tell me about this podcast. How long have you been doing this?
This is a pandemic baby. I started this early 2020, like February timeframe, and I've been doing it for a couple of years now. Last year I did 52 episodes. This year I just moved to a new state, so I kind of relocated and lost my one every week streak I was going for. But I think I put out, I don't know, over 10 episodes this year. I really fell off the bandwagon with doing it every week, but I'm trying to do it at least once a month or so, and just talk to interesting people in the industry, get their point of view on things, and really learn from people and share their stories. So trying to get businesses out there, friends and family on it, just talk, have a good time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, I appreciate you having us on. I know Bobby's got a pretty cool story.
Yeah, Bobby, tell us about your story. What got you into racing, and what are you doing now?
Well, right now I currently work in the oil and gas industry, and my phone's always blowing up, all kinds of crazy stuff. Had to go out and pick up a piece of equipment from location today, and you know, um, it's just wild. We're so busy right now, and I'm actually looking for guys to hire. So if you know anybody looking for a job, might as well throw that out there. And if you have a CDL, hit me up.
And what area are you in? You're in Texas, Corpus Christi?
Yeah, we're in South Texas. We do have a location out in Odessa. There's actually somebody in the background raising their hands, you know. But yeah. Yeah, no, but yeah, no, we're just staying busy, trying to make money, you know, and live. But my backstory into racing is, you know, as a kid, I always wanted to race, and I didn't really become able to race until I was already graduated from school. So, and as soon as I graduated, I sold a car that I was building. I was building a 69 Nova, and that's kind of how I got introduced to Flo and Matthew and all them at Moreno's and Sons Auto Parts. And I was building a 69 Nova, built it all the way to where it was basically a rolling chassis, dropped an engine into it, and then I turned around and sold it. And I bought my first motorcycle, and it was in 2009. I bought a 2009 Yamaha R6, and that's basically where it kicked off. I rode on the street. I did all the twisties and all that stuff out in the the Twisted Sisters and all that stuff out in Leaky Bandera area, and that got me hooked. So a buddy said, "Hey, let's go to the track," you know. And so I did one track day, instantly hooked, and never really looked back from there.
What was your first track?
Texas World Speedway in College Station, Texas.
Okay, yeah.
And so that was my first track day ever. I didn't crash on the first track day, but then I crashed horribly bad on my second track day. And it was just an addiction right off the start.
And you soon or shortly after got into racing, or what was your progression from track days to racing?
So I maybe did like 6 or 7 track days, and then you know, all the instructors was like, "Hey, you're doing actually pretty good. You should get your license." So the end of 2011, I turned around and I got my Provnov license through CMRA, and maybe it was 2011, 2010, I think. Maybe it was 2010. I did the last 2 races in Provnov to get my jersey off, and then I turned around and completed the full 2011 season as a novice, and I did pretty good. I won 2 championships and I got second in 2 championships, and then slowly progressed being an expert. And yeah, that's basically it's all news now.
And now
So
you did expert for a few years, and now you're doing some pro stuff, right? You're running with the big boys of in Moto America.
yeah, we somehow jumped to this next year. We're going to be doing the full season, hopefully a Superbike Cup in Moto America, and we're going to do our best.
That's recent news, right?
Say it again.
That's recent news, right?
For 2024.
Yeah. Didn't we just
Yeah.
get some news?
We got some news. I don't know if we can share it yet, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been formally announced yet, but we're definitely going to be doing the full season of Superbike Cup.
Okay, very good.
And so we have a teammate is going to be Benjamin Smith.
Nice.
So super fast guy. Looking forward to working with him all year, and hopefully I can piggyback off of his back and try to go fast as well.
You
Learn
guys are
some
gonna
stuff
be
from him.
teammates in the same class.
He is going to run Superbike Cup, so yes, we will be racing together. So
And you're doing stock 1000 as well, so 2 races sometimes a weekend.
yes, sir. It'd be 2 races a day.
Ooh,
So it'd be we'd be racing the stock 1000 class, which would be 30 minutes or so. Then it would be another 45-minute to 50-minute Superbike race. But the Superbike Cup race is a race in the Superbike class, so
right.
should be interesting.
Yeah, and hopefully get some good TV coverage with that. All the eyeballs. What is it now? Like 1 million eyeballs a race, it seems like.
It's growing and it's continuing to grow, which is really nice because it's a lot easier to go out and get sponsors and help us live a dream that we've always wanted to live.
For sure. I would assume it's probably easier to go after the bigger series than to get any money for like a CMRA or WERA.
Well, I mean, you can go out and get money for those club races and whatnot, but yeah, it's way easier to say, hey, Moto America puts out a good program every year, and it shows exactly how many views they get, how many this, how many that, and it's easy to go to sponsors and say, look, this is how many views that you're potentially able to get, and it helps out tremendously. Everything's a new age nowadays that they want to see how many views you get, how many views here, how many views there, whatnot.
Yeah.
So
And I'm not sure of the structure of the 2024 calendar. Is it similar to 23 where not every class is racing at every round?
I'll email it.
yes, it's exactly the same like that. So stock 1000 won't be racing at every round, but they'll have 2 races at, I think it's 5 rounds again this year.
Do you like that structure better because it's probably less travel costs involved, and you race, shorter. It's shorter duration. Like when you're doing it, it's really compressed, but not as far across the season.
Yeah, so like on a privateer level, it's way better due to the fact you don't have to drive all the way to California, all the way back to the other to say to Barber or something like that.
Those accepted to Flo, and I just asked them if we're gonna send a deposit, so I didn't even.
I'm just listening, Flo.
No, it's sorry, we got a full operation going on over here.
No, but so sure enough, like it's a lot better for a privateer. Like last year, we only had to drive to 5 rounds instead of all 10 rounds, and it was way cheaper for our pockets to still continue and do the full season. So I kind of like that idea. Doing 2 races each weekend, it makes it more worth it to going out to each round. But on the other hand, this coming year in 2024, we are going to every round. So you should see us at every, whether or not we'll be competing in Superbike Cups. So there'll be 9 rounds that we'll be at this next year.
Nice. Yeah, as a racer, it's like I want to do all the tracks. I don't care how much it costs. I just want to race the tracks, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I care how
That's
much it costs.
Of course, yeah. It's always a factor. And so, Flo, other than the Audi, have you ever been on track or done anything racing related? What's your involvement with racing?
Yeah, so I grew up around cars. My dad owns an auto shop there in San Antonio. So we grew up rebuilding motors. We have a Pontiac Firebird that we used to drag race. It actually still drag races it, but so I did a little bit of drag racing in high school. Almost ran it into the wall one time, but ran on an 11-second quarter mile
All right.
on a pure Pontiac motor. So really that's my only experience on the track. Other than that, I've always been interested in fast cars. I have my motorcycle license, but I have no interest in riding a motorcycle. I definitely want to get out there and follow Bobby around on the track eventually, but just getting out there, is a challenge. But yeah, I grew up, around motors, so this is definitely something that's very interesting to me, and I definitely support and appreciate what Bobby's been able to do.
And tell me about your business, your law business.
Yeah, so I run a personal injury law firm in Dallas, Texas. We have clients all over Texas. It's a small firm. I have about 5 or 6 full-time employees, kind of spread out throughout Texas. Most of them here in the DFW area, but Bobby's wife actually just started working for us.
Oh, nice.
My sister-in-law is a full-time employee, so we're a very family-oriented business. But basically, the way it works is somebody gets in a car accident and gets hurt, and they call us to represent them, and then we fight with the insurance companies.
So now in this new modern age, tell me, how much has the technology changed your business? I'm talking about like dash cams and video recordings and audio. Is that something you use in your daily practice?
Oh no, absolutely, it's huge. That I've had a handful of cases that we were able to win because we were able to pull some sort of dash cam footage. Everybody out here lies, so even if an accident is pretty straightforward, I always assume that the other driver's going to lie. So we definitely try to pull as much information as we can. But yeah, no, it's been very beneficial. Sometimes it's not always beneficial. Sometimes I don't want to see the video because it could go against my client's case. But no, yeah, I mean, any and all evidence that we could gather, it's definitely helpful.
Sure. And how has sounds like you're a sponsor of motorcycle racing now. So how has helping sponsor other athletes and teams helped your business?
Oh, so one day my brother asked me if I wanted to sponsor Bobby, and it was a very small sponsorship. So threw some money his way. He put a very small sticker on his bike, and I went to a race, and I fell in love with it. The thing with personal injury is we're competing with all these big firms, and anywhere that you drive, I'm sure it's similar in Vegas. Anywhere you drive, you see a billboard for some personal injury attorney, because it's a very lucrative business, but it's hard to market against those bigger firms. And so for me, sponsoring motorcycles or sponsoring Bobby and Moto America was a good way for me to kind of set myself apart from everyone else. And so I went that route. I used to have a billboard. I tried that, spent like $50,000 in 1 year on a couple billboards, didn't get one client from it. And so instead of putting my money there, I decided to put it on a bike, and just kind of see what kind of feedback I would get. And it's been awesome. Like everybody's been kind of telling us how great our social media presence is, and the videos that we're able to put out because of it. So yeah, it definitely sets me apart. No one else is doing it that I'm aware of here in Texas. And so it's also fun for us. So it's a fun way for me to spend my money and also market my firm.
Yeah.
And I figure if it's working for Red Bull, then it could work for us.
Sure. And they're I don't even know what their market cap or their annual revenue is, but millions and millions of dollars, and they're spending it on the same thing you are.
Right. Yeah.
And
They're having fun with it.
yeah. And you're in Texas. Can you operate in other states, or how does that work if someone's in like Arizona and they want to hire you? Is that possible? That's a possibility?
No, we can. I'm just not. I'm only licensed in Texas, but we do take cases from outside the state. The only issue is having to file a lawsuit since I'm not licensed in that state. We'd have to find an attorney who is. So it definitely creates a challenge, but there's more than enough business here in Texas. I mean, we're basically our own countries, and if I can't be successful here, then I have no business
Right.
trying to continue with a personal injury firm.
Yeah, let me tell you what you probably already know. US has 3 power grids: East, West, and Texas.
Yep.
Right? That's amazing to me.
Yep. No, that's absolutely true.
So when are you guys planning on seceding from the country?
As soon as possible. Just
I could get into politics, but that's another conversation for another podcast.
Sure, no worries. I'm just trying to talk about whatever.
Yeah. No, I love politics, and that I'm a real big Texas history guy. I think that succeeding from the US is, more and more so every day it's becoming more necessary for us to be able to do so. But it is what it is. I'm also in the military, so I'm proud to serve the US, and I'll continue to do that until Texas decides to become its own country.
Sure. Just interesting to see the progression of things over the years.
Yeah, it's weird. Have you ever been to Texas?
Just a couple times. Went to Dallas. I've been to Austin. I've worked at Coda for the MotoGP race 2022. So I was there. Know the track very well. Went to Dallas for like a conference and flew in and out of there multiple times, different transferring flights, but haven't spent a ton of time in Texas. It was one of the places I considered moving to when I was moving from Michigan. I just wanted to be somewhere below the snow belt, and so I could be around racing and work at a racetrack all year round.
What were you doing at Coda for MotoGP?
I was a flag marshal, waving the flags at the last corner before the long straightaway. I was at turn 11, I think. So I was
Bobby,
on,
what turn is that?
the last corner at the end of the straight.
before the beginning of the long straight.
It's 11.
Yeah, 11. So I was on TV, he waving the flag, I think, when Sean Kelly crashed and broke his something or other. I think he broke something that weekend. But it's amazing to see. That's a really exciting corner to be at, because everybody's trying to get the best drive into it so they can get the best drive out of it. People are crashing, losing the front. People are high siding coming out of it. And you don't really realize the elevation change until you go to a track like that and see it in person. You're like, they're exiting that corner and they just completely disappear from your view. They go that.
You should try to ride it on a bicycle.
Yeah, you won't even be able to get up some of the hills.
Oh man. It's crazy.
Our first gear just barely moving.
Bobby's got a lot of great experience at Coda. Bobby, what's that turn that you're going into, the shot that we have of you with the flag in it?
That's I think it's turn 5.
In the
Turn
S's.
5 or turn 6. Yeah, right past the S's as where the famous shot where you get the Texas flag in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it might be turn 7.
I like it. And that was one of the only races when they did it for Formula One where they waved the checker flag and the Texas flag at the finish line. I'm like, that's kind of unique. I've never seen any other country do that, or state.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't even think I noticed that, but yeah. I mean, it's Texas, so I mean, it does not surprise me in the least bit.
Yep. So 2024 is coming up real soon. Do you guys have bikes lined up, ready to go? Is it all built? Are you got on new machinery this year?
Right. Yes. So right now we're still gonna run on the 2023 Yamaha R1 from last year, but we're gonna send it off and get the engine refreshed and all that good stuff. We are going with a completely new look next year, which is gonna be it's gonna be pretty nice. We're just waiting for graphics to get done and all that good stuff. Ordered some nice carbon in body work from HHR. So all that stuff comes straight already prepped and everything to where we just throw it on the bike. It's pretty sweet. So
Yeah, I've heard that brand explode in the last couple of years from Hustle Hard Racing. They seem like they're doing a good job over there.
yeah, Mark over there, he actually texted me a few seconds ago saying he needs a shipping address because he needs to get that stuff on shipped over to us. So, but yeah, he does great for us.
Yeah, one thing I like about HHR and that really stuck out with me and why I want to continue to have them as part of the team is one of the years, I think it was Barber or one of the races, they actually came out and they were helping us on the track. Like they were taking tire covers off. They were there with us in the pit. I mean, just doing all the work. So I mean, little things like that really go a long way. And they're going to be part of the team for as long as as long as we can continue to afford this. But yeah, I can't say enough about those guys over at HHR. They've been pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's parts are helpful, but people are the most important asset in your team, right? If you don't have good people, you don't have a good team.
Yeah, and it helps that they have a pretty cool looking brand too, so it looks cool on the bike.
Yeah, they got good graphic design and all that stuff going on. I've talked to Mark a bunch of times, and good people over there. We're kind of competitors. We both are in the same industry, selling parts online, but I welcome it. I think it's a benefit.
Yeah.
Very good. So no VIR again this year. Are you bummed about that?
I've actually never been to VIR, so
Okay.
I don't really know that track. Majority of all these tracks that we've gone to, like say this last year, I've never been at, so it was my first time racing them. It's been a good learning experience, and it's been a progressive learning experience all the way up from getting like 17th, 18th, 19th in Road Atlanta, all the way to getting a top 10 finish there in Texas at Coda, the last round. So it's been a progressive season, and hopefully we can continue to progress this next year as well.
Yeah, and it's cool that Mid Ohio's back on the schedule after being repaved. It's been off for a long time because that pavement was not good enough to be ridden in the rain. So I remember every time we go there for wear, it's like, I hope it doesn't rain because nobody's going to ride the track if it does.
Yeah, it's like glass.
Right. Yeah, even cars couldn't stick to the ground in the rain. They'd be in China Beach, like be a pile up of 12 cars or something. It's ridiculous.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's crazy. What's your favorite track, Eric?
Oh man, favorite? It's hard to say. Every single day people ask me what's my favorite car at work, and I'm like, the one I'm in right now. Like whatever one I have, you got to be adaptable. I'd say there's tracks I like more than others. I think Nelson Ledges, I love the layout of that track. I hate the runoff because there isn't any. So I like tracks with lots of runoff that are safe, like Coda. Coda's an amazing track because there's so much places or things not to hit, right? When you crash, you're going to go sliding for a while most of the time. I just don't like dangerous tracks. Like if there's barriers in the way or things that could have been moved that aren't, and there's not enough runoff, I think those are issues. And like 30 years from now, we'll be like, why do we ever do this? This is not safe, And I think things are getting better, but they're still not there. So it's hard to say a specific one. I guess, if I could go back to my roots, it'd be Grattan Raceway, because that was the first track I ever rode. You can do it both directions, clockwise and counterclockwise. I've had a pretty bad crash there, but most of the time it's fairly safe, right?
Sure.
So what about you? Is there any one that sticks out in your mind?
Man, ECR up in Dallas. Well, it's actually in Decatur, but they just repaved it. The same people who paved Barber paved that track, and man, it's phenomenal. The elevation changes, everything about it. It's just nice. I wish one day that they get big enough to where they can put like the facility structure into where we can actually race there with Moto America or something like that.
I think you're
So
the second person to tell me that. I think Chandler Slagle, he told me that too. Eagles Canyon, and I've never been to that one. It hasn't been on my radar because it's not like a FIM
It's super
homologated
smooth.
track, right?
Yeah, It's super smooth. The elevation, the high speed turns. It has everything in there. It's nice.
So I love high entry speed corners, like a Nelson Ledges, where you're just, almost full throttle on the corner entry, like it's fast kinks and takes balls to go fast there. I like those kinds of tracks. I don't like the stop and go so much.
You would love ECR. Definitely.
I have to check it out sometime. They do bikes and cars.
It's a beautiful track, and they have a great facility there, and it's clean,
That's good.
which as a spectator is always nice.
They just need more grandstands or pit garages or something.
Yeah, pit garages and grandstands. That's one thing that they do need. So
Now, are you guys followers of other series, like obviously Moto America, but like MotoGP, Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR? Do you guys follow other racing series?
No, I love F1. Thanks to the Netflix series, and really that's kind of what brought me to want to put more focus into Moto America. I think what they're able to do on the F1 side kind of brings a lot of notoriety into
I was set for 2.5
we're
hours.
racing the same tracks. Coda is amazing, and it's cool to be out there knowing that the MotoGP guys and the Formula One guys are out there also. But yeah, I definitely follow F1. Not so much NASCAR. I mean, NASCAR is cool and everything. I think it's a much better race to watch in person. But no, it's Formula One is pretty amazing, and then just knowing what Bobby does and how the guys are racing, watching MotoGP has also become very cool for me. But this is a very recent thing. I was never really into watching racing until a couple of years ago.
I think that Netflix Drive to Survive got a lot of fans into it in a good way. Some people are calling them, Netflix fans. Like,
Yeah.
I don't hate on them because they found it out about it a different way. A lot of people will say to me, "Hey, did you watch the Netflix series on this?" I'm like, "No, I watched the race."
Right.
But how to each their own. I think it's a great thing to bring more people into it. And for the longest time, it's like, to me, it's so entertaining. Why are not more people interested? And I think it's because most people in America, they start with stick and ball sports. They start with soccer and hockey and baseball and basketball, and they don't really get introduced to it like they do in Europe. So I think anything we can do to get the young kids in front of it and introduced to it is a beneficial thing.
Yeah, it's weird because 3 years ago I wouldn't be able to name one F1 driver.
Yeah.
Or one MotoGP driver. I didn't even know Coda was a thing. And I drive by it all the time because driving down to San Antonio, we take that tollway around Austin. And I would always see the tower there at Coda. I had no idea what it was. And now every time I drive by it, like I almost, want to stop and take a picture. And it's just such a cool track and great experience. But I'm definitely a Netflix fan. Netflix, racing fan. So, I'm one of the guilty parties there. But, I think for the US, it's just there's so much there's so much entertainment that it's hard to pick up something new, especially when you don't know about it. And I don't even know what brought my attention to that show, Drive to Survive. But I think I watched one episode and I got hooked. And I think just knowing about the drivers, that it personalizes them, so you see what kind of people that they are, and I think that's very neat. And I think Moto America would do well to maybe not a Netflix series, but to do something so that you could actually see these guys in the pits and like what they go through, and how hard it is just to get to a race, kind of follow them around on their full-time jobs, like seeing Bobby out doing what he does in the oil and gas industry, to go from that to putting his knee on the ground in a high speed turn. It's just phenomenal, what they're able to do with so little. So it's cool, and I definitely admire these guys and look up to them and appreciate everything that they're able to do on a almost weekend basis.
Yeah. So Bobby, don't you get this question all the time? Doesn't it hurt when you drag your knee?
No, actually, I believe it or not, I haven't been asked that in a long time, like a long time. more people so just say you're flat out crazy or other words too. But yeah, I mean it's not bad. I am also I guess a Netflix fan of that Drive to Survive. I didn't know anything about it until somebody told me, "Hey, did you check out that new series on Netflix?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" So then I downloaded to the computer and I watched it out on location, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm hooked now." So
Yeah.
I never really followed anything or I always liked doing things. Like I don't like watching sports. I don't like I mean, I kind of I start yawning whenever I'm watching somebody else go around the track too. But whenever I'm on the track, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, it's a
So
different thing when you're doing it.
yeah, I'm a doer. I can't watch it and I have to be doing it or else I'm back here yawning. Yeah.
Every time I'm watching racing, I'm like, I'm sitting on the couch watching these guys get better at their craft while I'm getting worse and getting more lazy. So I'm like,
Sitting there.
when I'm trying to watch races or something, I like to go on my rollers, on my trainer, my bicycle in my room and just ride. If you ride like a half hour, 45 minutes, you're at least feeling like you're doing something and you're not being as lazy, right?
Uh, I hear you. I started CrossFit last week actually on my birthday to try to
Nice.
get in shape for this next season. So far I'm super sore, but it's definitely working. You know.
So do you have a trainer or something? What are you doing for your fitness program?
My fitness program is basically just CrossFit every morning at 5 o'clock
There you go.
and just wake up, knock it out, and then go to work the rest of the day. I mean, work is pretty brutal by itself, but now it's even better whenever I could just knock the work out in the morning, go to
Yeah.
work, finish the day out, go back home, see the family, spend time with my girls and my son, and just knock everything out in the morning time.
It's interesting finding out what everybody does for work to afford racing. I know another guy, Nick. He's like one of those guys who's climbing those 10,000-foot towers and changing a light bulb on top and stuff like that. It's like he gets paid good money, but do you want to do that? I don't know.
I wouldn't mind trying it at least once.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to get paid to climb a big tower, right? And just do a little tiny task at the top.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. Change the light bulb.
It's just way up there.
I used to long time ago, right before I actually got into like track days and stuff like that. I barely bought my motorcycle, and so I used to work at a power plant, and I actually built scaffold. And so I'd be building hanging scaffold off the side of the smokestacks on power plants and stuff like that. And people were like, "How do you do that?" I was like, "I don't know. I just hang on there. I'm tied off. I know I'm
Yeah.
not going to fall." With that mentality, I know I could fall, but yeah.
Yeah. My dad, talking about jobs, my dad had a job when he was a kid in the summertime. He worked at his father's work for one summer after high school, and it was called Diamond Heat Treat. It's not it doesn't exist anymore, but it was a heat treat facility in Detroit where they have like a blast furnace in front of your face. You're just putting metal parts in to heat treat them and taking them out all day. That's all you do. And he said, if you could imagine what a hypothetical hell would look like, that was it. It was like the hottest thing you've ever felt in your life. It's 3 feet in front of your face, and do that 9 to 5 all day for 30 years. He's like, I am going to college. I am not doing this the rest of my life. And it changed his whole mentality of like, oh wow, I'm not gonna do that with my life. I'm gonna do something different.
Isn't that the
Yeah.
basis of the Rudy movie?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
wow, you see
he's
what's
working at one of those
possible.
facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that movie the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. Yep. It's a good
So
movie.
Flo, what got you into law?
I love to argue, and I figured why not make some money on it.
There you go.
Yeah, no, when I was in the military, I was a navigator for the Air Force, and we have what's called the GI Bill, and it's basically money that they give you to go to school. And I was nearing the end of my commitment with the military, and it's use or lose money. You use it or you lose it. And I figured, what the hell? I mean, try to go to law school, try to be a professional student, even in my mid 30s. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get accepted to a school, lucky enough to pass the bar, and now I get to argue with insurance adjusters for a living and other attorneys, which is fun because, like I said, I'm a pretty stubborn person, and the idea of being a lawyer to me was always cool, and so I figured my goal was to be a lawyer by the time I was 40, and I met that goal. So
Very good. Seems like a very intellectual, stimulating job.
oh yeah, I definitely get to use my brain most of the day. Unfortunately for my girlfriend, my brain doesn't work at the end of the day, and especially like when she really wants to start talking to me, I'm like, let's just talk later.
Just burnt out, I bet.
Yeah, just burnt out, a lot of burnout.
And you said you have a very small crew of people. Do you have an office somewhere in that area?
Yeah, so I have a remote office. One thing good with to come out of the pandemic is I realized that we don't necessarily need a formal office for what I do. So I literally work in my kitchen. So where you see me right now is where I work
Nice.
95% of the time. So unless I have to go to court, which is very rare for me, I'm sitting here in my kitchen around my kitchen table with my assistants. So two of them are working right in front of me right here.
Very good.
But yeah, we keep things. I like to keep things pretty simple. The acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And we've made it work. So I get to turn around, cook some food, and then come back to work. It's pretty easy. It's pretty fun.
I like it. And so is there anything on your mind you wanted to talk about today?
No, I'm just looking forward to the season, and I definitely wanted to thank our sponsors, Wood Cycle Country, HHR is supposed to be sending us some suits here pretty soon. We're getting new helmets. What's the name of the helmet company?
We're switching to I'm switching. It's gonna be my first time going with a rye.
Okay.
And Ben's been with the rye since he started. So I've never been tied to Shoei. I just always wore it. Now I'm going with a rye, equally just as good helmet. So yeah, they're gonna be it's gonna be a great partnership with them.
Yeah, both great companies there with Shoei and Arai. I think it just comes down to preference and head shape, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Got more of like the intermediate oval shape. Some of the helmets just won't fit you.
Yeah. Yep. It's
Oh, okay.
I've wore it a ride one time. I liked it. Wasn't I went to Shoei and I just kind of stuck with it. And now I'm gonna make the change back to a ride this year.
Very good.
So,
And let's see. So what kind of engine work are you allowed with the stock 1000 class? Are you allowed to do anything with the cams or the internal?
you're
engine?
able to. I'm not the engine builder, but from what I've read is you can adjust the cams, and that's basically about it. Everything else is just bolt-on stuff, exhaust, all that good stuff. You get a little bit of electronic play in there, but that's about it. So just all, I guess, yeah.
And you're talking like 150, 160 horsepower in those bikes?
So the R1,
Maybe more.
I think it was, no, actually the R1's probably the lowest powered out of all the 1000 cc.
Because we can't do much to the bike, that's why I'm putting Bobby on a workout program.
3, I think, last year
Okay.
on the dyno. So
Sounds about
I mean,
right.
it wasn't too bad. It was a pretty good bike. It still is. We're just gonna refreshen the engine this year and just see what we can do next year.
Will you
So
guys be at Daytona?
that's
we
the one round.
won't be at Daytona. Yeah, they're not running the super bikes there. But back to your point, so with the stock 1000s, because we can't do much to the bike, that's why I'm putting Bobby on a workout program. Yeah, so that's a big key for me next year is to make sure that all of my guys are, their body max or their weight is, compared to their height is in the green. Otherwise, they're not going to get paid for that race. But I'm leading by example. I'm working out also. I'm going to make sure that I'm I'm in race shape, even though I'm not going to be out there on the track with them. But that's why he's doing CrossFit every day.
So what's the weight he's got to get to get paid?
It's 185.
185.
Yeah, I'm probably yeah, I mean I'm not super heavy, but while I was racing all last year, I was racing at like 200 to 205. So that's where I'm at any given day, but now I kind of dropped 2 pounds from there. So I'm going down. But now it's gonna have to just start getting more strict and all that stuff. Before I didn't have a schedule on my job, and now I do. And so it was super hard working out of a convenience store, basically eating convenience store food every day. Now I get to eat at home and all that good stuff. It's way better now. So,
Now it's interesting when I did that in 3 hour endurance race, we were mandated, we had to use ballast. And for each driver, they're weighing different amounts. So for each driver change, we had to change out the ballast and put in our own or keep the right amount. So it would be interesting to see a series that had a ballast rider bike minimum weight requirement to even everybody out, right? I would be interested to see that.
be interesting, but trying to set up a bike to do that, everybody's setup's different, so it's kind of hard to. I always felt like some of the heavier dudes had more grip or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
More grip,
but
less forward though.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're not going to convince me that you could stay over 200 pounds, Bobby. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I want to lose the weight anyway, so
It'll
it's
help
definitely
you
coming off.
shots, that's for sure. Your starts.
Yeah,
Now back in like
that's
2012, I think my rider weight was like 155. Was what I was trying to get to 150, 155. So on the start of a race, that's like 30-pound difference. That's a big difference.
huge difference. I think they said like every 5 pounds is like 1 horsepower or something like that.
Every ounce
Uh,
counts.
yeah. So
I remember when I changed my battery, I noticed it. I went from the lead acid to the lithium ion. I was like, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I'm going faster right now.
yeah, just taking all your body work off for the first time and running your bike down the road with no body work on it, no lights, nothing like that, and the bike just woo,
Oh yeah,
yeah, pretty crazy.
for sure.
But
So where can we find you guys online? Are you on internet? You have websites?
Yeah, we have an Instagram, so it's Flo4Law is my firm page. It's FLO, the number 4 law. It's all one word. And then we also have Flo4Law Racing. And we have a media team that puts together videos from races. Next year, we're going to have them out at 3 or 4 races, putting together videos, kind of showcasing these guys, which are, I mean, obviously phenomenal, and then also our sponsors. It's going to be we're gonna put together some videos for them also. And I have no formula. There's not somebody else's page that we're following for our media stuff. Just kind of just going off of feel. I got lucky enough to find a good group of guys that come out to the race and shoot some videos for us, and they do a phenomenal job, and they've kind of set ourselves apart. It's actually one of the reasons why some of the sponsors decided to sign on with us is the kind of content that we're putting out. But yeah, I would love for people to come visit the page and give us a follow. I mean, any little bit helps. I mean, the whole point of this for me is to market. So the more faces we could get in front of, the better.
And I know you're not following anybody, but I would recommend trying to follow or emulate Gray Pham, GP Industries. Bobby, have you seen his work? He's a phenomenal video creator. He does all sorts of series. I think he's doing endurance world championship stuff now for overseas EWC, and that's pretty cool to watch. He's done Moto America and World Superbike and all kinds of stuff. And he's a former Moto American racer in the Junior Cup. Turned videographer as a career. So he was one of the guys I podcasted with early on, and it's cool to see his work and his progression. It's if you can produce work like that, you'll get a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
No, I mean, it's great. It's also cool to to showcase, what these guys are doing on the track. Because unless you're there, I mean, it's to see somebody's knee touch the ground while you're moving as fast as they're moving. I mean, it's crazy to think about, but to see it, it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, Bobby gave us a yard sale a couple of years ago. Last year, though, he was I don't think he had any crashes last year, right, Bobby?
This season I had no crashes. The year before that at Barber, somehow my ECU went through the fence. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and we ended up literally duct taping it back together and getting it to go for the next day, and we, I mean, we got through it. But that brings up a good point. We couldn't do it without our team, like Sean Mara. We call him Gramps, another guy named Gramps, Joe Dollar. And man, without those guys this year, we couldn't have done it. I always used to be a guy that would hey, no, step away from the bike, let me do everything, let me do everything. Like I don't really trust. I have a bad trust issues. Well, this year was the first year that I kind of stepped back a little bit, and it went from the progression of the season, right? Whenever we weren't doing as good as what we wanted to, we slowly started progressing into an actual team, we built a relationship up, Sean was like, hey, let me do it for you. Let me do it for you. So sure enough, I was like, okay, Sean, put the tires on, do all that stuff, check everything. And then it went to pulling the subframe off, doing this, doing that. And man, Sean was a big help for me this past year. I couldn't have done it without him. It really took a lot of I guess stress off of my shoulders and allowed me just to race. And so the progression actually showed at the end of the year whenever we left on a good note.
Yeah,
So
it's important to do. At a certain point, you just can't do everything yourself anymore. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I always felt bad, and it doesn't look good on video when you have a racer in full gear with the helmet on, getting off and taking off his own, or putting his own tire warmers on. I like, Bobby, just sit back, go drink your water, go find a straw. I'm glad you brought up Sean too. I think I'm gonna have to put him on a workout routine also. I might have to write that into his contract.
No, it's good to see that the whole team coming together and all that. And it reminds me of like a guy, Stefano Mesa. Like he's out there on the podium changing his tires still. And it's like finally he got on a bigger team now that I don't think he's going to be doing that this coming season. But it's like, man, this guy, I just saw a video. I woke up this morning. He set a new record at Daytona, I think, for the Azra race. And it's like, man, give this guy a ride. Like, and he's finally getting there. He's finally getting it. But it's like, man, how many years do you have to change your own tires before you finally get some help?
I know.
Right? It's tough.
I can tell you it's been about 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You've been
13
putting
years,
on your own tire warmers for 13 years.
pretty much.
Yeah. No, and it's a family affair also. So my brother also helps me manage the team. So he couldn't be on the podcast with us today because he's working, but he goes out there with every race with us also. And it's a good family affair. It's fun. It's always fun to see all the kids out there and all the wives. And Bobby's wife is phenomenal. She just had another baby. How old is he now? A month?
He is currently, I think he's almost a month. But yeah, he's a big baby. Super big hands,
congratulations.
super big feet.
That's exciting. Congratulations, man.
Thank
Eric,
I
do you have any
appreciate it.
kids?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, same here. There's
No,
a
nothing.
couple countries that I don't really want to go back to, but yeah.
No, just girlfriends at the moment. Just dating and trying to find the right one. Just on all the apps and meeting people at the bars and at the gym and all that stuff. Anywhere you can find pretty girl.
Yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of them there in Vegas, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a little different pool of people, I would say, from Michigan to Vegas area. It's global here. I mean, it was very diverse where I lived in Michigan, but it's just different here. There's a lot of more international, I would say. A lot of different diverse groups of people here, but I like it. It's very different than what I'm used to. I think everybody should move across the country and try out something different. It was the first time I
Yes.
really drove across the country myself in a U-Haul truck or Penske, whatever it was. Um, it was a cool experience. It was kind of difficult going up the mountains of Colorado with all the things I own behind me, trying to go up the mountains 30 miles an hour, full throttle. It's not really doing anything. Then going down the hills with that 15% grade or whatever it was, and having to stop because my brakes are on fire.
Yeah. You just have to be careful there in Vegas if you're at a bar and a really, really attractive girl comes up to you. Just be careful and don't offer them any money. Um, watch out with what they're feeding you or what they're giving you to drink.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a new world. All the casinos, there's just a new casino just opened up, Durango. That's the new hottest thing, and the Fountain Blue I think opened up today. So that's two big casinos opening.
How was it for you having the race there, the F1 race?
It was cool. We actually shut down for 6 days because one of the teams bought out our entire facility for their promotion event. So we got a free vacation type of thing. But it was good. Cool to see all the people in town. Um, I think it was a really good event for Formula One. Of course, there were hiccups. It could have been better, but overall, I think it was a benefit to the sport. I personally don't love street courses because of the obvious no runoff and poor viewing because you can't really see a whole lot of the track from any one point. Um, like I worked the Miami Grand Prix last year for Formula One as a marshal, and you can only see the cars going by for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then you wait a minute and a half. So it's not as good a spectacle, but I get it that they want to put it in front of the biggest city or one of the biggest cities in the world. And it's cool to see the lights at night. I wish it was earlier in the season so it's not as cold and not at midnight. I know it's Vegas, it's night city, but do it like 7 p.m. or earlier because at 4:30 it's nighttime here.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in
No, it's I didn't realize that it was going to be over like in the middle of the night, essentially. Like they were holding practices like at 2 a.m.
Right. The timing wasn't the best thing in my opinion, but I don't think they were listening to what I have to say.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good thing. I wish they would have their own purpose-built racetrack in the middle of the desert with tons of runoff, like a Coda type of track. But that's $100 million to build.
You think you'll be able to make it to any of the Motor America races this year or in
Possibly.
2024?
If I can find a budget to do it, I'd like to be on the grid racing, banging bars with Bobby, maybe a different class, but I'd like to do super sport is my real goal. I haven't done motorcycle racing in a couple of years. I've done a lot of karts and mountain bikes and coaching lately, but I'm still very fast. I just set the lap record in the Aston Martin at our track. I got the fastest lap in qualifying for the go-kart race and then fastest lap in the race. So I'm right there with the times. It's just the hardest part about racing, of course, is funding it. So I'm talking to a sponsorship coach right now, and I'm trying to put together a package that I can go out to potential companies and find a budget to do it. And I want to do like 10, 15 rounds of karting and bikes combined would be ideal. But yeah, if I can find the money, I'll be there. And
What
hopefully,
does a sponsorship coach do?
basically just teach you about what companies need and how you can provide that for them. And what, in the past, I had been, I think, approaching it wrong. It's like, this is what I need. How can you help me? Rather than this is what I can provide for you. Are you interested in my services?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, what can you give them? Do you have a podcast? Do you run a business? Do you sell products online? Can you sell their product for them? Do you have an in with billboard companies? Can you get them discounts on XYZ marketing, advertising on TV or whatever?
Right.
Just about finding them the right. It's really what are the correct set of words that I need to say to get this thing that I want?
Yeah.
And then providing on top of that what, it's what's the right word to say? Under promising and over producing.
Right.
Right? So you say you're going to do this, but you give them 3 times what they asked for in a good way. So how can you do that? How can you? My biggest thing is finding the right people to talk to and getting in the right meetings with the right people. Right. So who
Yeah.
needs advertising? Who's looking for ads? Well, how do you find them? How do you get a meeting with them? How do you get past the secretary to talk to the decision maker?
Right.
So it's all about like that kind of thing. She has the course that I purchased, so I'm just trying to go through the course and reading all the books on sponsorship and trying to get better and just having conversations with people. It's like, what kind of business do you have? What kind of advertising do you do? I see these holes. Your social media hasn't posted something in 3 months. Like, is anybody managing that? Maybe I could manage that for you. Stuff like that.
So where does your podcast run? Like what outlet do you use for it?
So it's on YouTube. It's also Spotify. I don't think it's on Pandora, but it's Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts. I think it's Stitcher, Deezer, Anchor FM. I think pretty much all the places, but video, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I usually cut the Instagram and Facebook into parts. So if it's over an hour, I'll cut it and put 1 part, 2 part, 3 part. So it'll be posted multiple times. So it's got a decent reach. I think I've hit over 100,000 views already.
Oh, awesome.
So it's not nothing, but it's not exactly going super viral, which
Yeah.
I'm not expected to.
Yeah. No, I mean it's definitely something that I've always been interested in. I mean, you talk to interesting people. I know Joe Rogan's kind of the top of the pyramid, but I mean it's amazing how many different types of people there are out there and to talk to. And like passing Bobby on the street, you would never know that he's a professional world-class racer, one of the best in the country. But I mean, there's a lot of very interesting people out there, and it's great what you do and the reach that you have. And I was looking at your Instagram, and I think you do a phenomenal job. 11,000 followers is no easy feat, especially when it's done organically. I've had to work my ass off just to get to 3,000.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's fun talking to people and getting to know people. So I appreciate what you're doing for sure.
Yeah, man. And it's changed my life, to be honest. I would not be in Las Vegas, and I probably wouldn't be still coaching if it weren't for talking to people. I talked to Travis Wyman, and he's a coach for sports cars, for off-road, and for motorcycles. And I'm like, how do I do that? Like, and he said straight up, he's like, I'm sure you could. Like, my last podcast backdrop was all my trophies. And he's like, with your resume behind you, I know you could do this. You just got to find the right company who says yes and hires you. Like, oh, light bulb moment. Like, I need to do this. And I started with just street riding coaching for MSF and got into bikes and then got into cars and moved across the country and doing it full time now. So speaking
of backgrounds, I love the setup that you have.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
This is my apartment.
Living the dream.
Yeah, man. It's I moved into a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, no garage, no storage. I got a storage unit now for all my other stuff. And definitely downsized. I want to move to a better place soon, but yeah, I don't have any sort of backdrop. I just have one little light in front of me. So you don't have to have even, my mic isn't even hooked up. I'm just using my laptop right now. No special camera, just basic. It's fine. It's good enough.
Yeah.
You don't need anything super fancy to start a podcast. You just need a laptop and free editing software.
And you need to know how to keep the conversation moving, which is hard. That's a hard skill to have.
That's the biggest thing. When I first started, I would always have a bullet points I'd write down at least 10 bullet points. And then I found that was a bad idea because I would get through the bullet points in 3 minutes and I'm like, I don't know what to talk about now. and they're searching for things to talk about. And now I have no preparation on purpose. I just try to have a conversation and see where it goes. And if you talk about something, I'll go into that area. I'm not perfect at it, I'm sure. It could be better, but after 130 some episodes, I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah, I think having bullet points, it's very easy to get through them, like you were saying, and you don't realize how fast you get through them. Like,
First name is.
I know a lot of times I'll prepare an opening statement and I'll read it, and it's only like 30 seconds long. It's like, what am I going to talk about for the next 5 minutes? Like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. So it's better just to pre-flow it. I think that's a great move for sure. And if the person that you're talking to is interesting, that conversation is going to carry. Like, it's phenomenal how Joe Rogan's able to talk to somebody for 3 straight hours.
Yeah.
With no bullet points on what he's going to talk about. He just talks to these people for 3 hours. Like, what can you talk about in 3 hours? But there's a lot. Like, talking to my girlfriend at night, we'll be talking for an hour about just whatever. But it's hard when you're talking to somebody, and you could be a skilled person when asking questions, but if that person's just giving you nothing, like, okay, what do I do now? Like, this is weird.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of younger, like children basically on here who are professional racers, and those are kind of tough sometimes because they're not as conversational. They're like, I ask them a question, they answer, they don't say anything back. They're like, yes.
Yes.
Like, well, that was a 7-minute answer I just gave you, and you just said one word, but okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
So it's also trying to find the balance of, I want to promote my stuff too, so I want to talk a little bit, but I want you to talk more than half the time, ideally, because it's not about me, it's about you. That's the idea, right? So it's finding that balance of how much do I say, how much do I let you talk, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely the first podcast that we've done as Flo4Law Racing, so it's kind of interesting. It's the first podcast I've ever done, and so I appreciate you asking us to come on and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, it's I want to have everybody on who I've ever raced with, and you're one of the first people that came to mind.
So who won?
Awesome.
I don't remember. I finished. I did not win. I got second place in 2 races that weekend. And I remember I got dogged on one of the races. We were all fighting for national champions. I know you were on the podium. And one of the races got red flagged at lap 4. I had passed.
I know I crashed one time, big time. I came out of turn 3 and I ended up by the scoreboard somehow.
So there was one race that will haunt me forever. It was for the title of national champion. And I was in second place. I had passed for the lead. I would cross the line in first. It got red flagged. So it goes back a lap. And the race was over. It was not restarted. So I got second place. And then the other race that I got second in, I was in second. I went wide at Charlotte's Web. One guy got past me. So I finished third. In the race, the guy who was in first place had a professional license, so he was disqualified in the race, and I would have finished in second, but awarded first. But I went off trying to catch him and lost that title. So both races I could have won, but it's like, that's how racing goes. And maybe if I won, I wouldn't have had this fire in me still. But that's just how it goes sometimes.
Well, it's fun. I think what you guys do is amazing. I definitely want to go out there and visit you in Vegas and go around the track a little bit. It's a lot of I don't know if you can get that adrenaline rush really doing anything else. I know just riding on the street here in my car, I try to, every time I see an apex, like I try to hit it. Like, even though I'm on the street.
So
what's
funny is I've gone skydiving a couple times, and you go faster on a motorcycle horizontally than you'll ever go skydiving. I think the terminal velocity, if you're in a pencil, is like 120 miles an hour. So yeah, you go faster on a bike or in a car on a track. And it's
you
really
do it-
not that expensive to come to Vegas and drive our track. It's anywhere from 200 to 600 bucks, depending on which car you choose. Now you get a small amount of laps for that, but it's you can buy as many laps as you want. So
Yeah, I
it's
think
pretty
actually
cool.
one of my assistants is supposed to be in Vegas soon. I might have her reach out to you to get her on the track. I know that she likes to do that stuff too.
Yeah, let me know when you're in town. I'm at work at the Speed Vegas location about 5 days a week. So let me know when you're in town. I'll let you know if I'm working, and I
I
can
have a
coach
few.
you.
I have a few coworkers that I think done your stuff before.
Yeah, I bet it's a lot of fun. There's tons of videos on YouTube about of people their experiences. We have video in the car watching the track, and one of them, so you can see their face and their expressions and everything. There's audio in the car, so you can hear me coaching. You can hear me talking, where to brake, how to turn, all that stuff. And actually, my video of me driving is on my YouTube channel, so check it out.
Oh, definitely check. Yeah, I'll check that out as soon as we're done here.
Yeah,
That's
the
pretty
Aston
cool.
Martin is the lap record on there. That's cool to see that.
Has
Yeah,
there
so
been
for
any?
every- I was gonna say I have to wrap up here soon, but just for your viewers, so just a quick summary of what we do. I'm a personal injury law firm here in Texas, but I mean we could essentially take business anywhere, but preferably in Texas. I'm a glorified ambulance chaser, so if you get in a car accident and you get injured, we'd love to help them out. We sponsor Bobby and a couple other racers there in Moto America, and for us, it's all about marketing. I'm very passionate about what they do, and Bobby is such a great person. We wouldn't be involved in Moto America, but if it wasn't for him and just his work ethic and what he's been able to do with everything, I couldn't pour enough money into it. I mean, I'm happy to support him as long as he wants to race, and I think eventually, we want to continue to build up this team. Next year we're going to be at every race, and I want to continue to build it up and have a couple super bikes out there. Even though we'll be racing with them, we'll still be on stock bikes. But I mean the sky's the limit with what we're doing, and we've been able to do a lot with very little, and we definitely will continue to push that forward.
That's great to see. And I don't think I said at the beginning, but this is the EricSwahnRacing.com podcast, number 138 with Flo4Law and Bobby Davis. So thanks, guys, for coming on. I know you got to wrap up, so I won't keep you too long, but I'll be sure to edit and publish this in the next couple of weeks. And when it comes out, be sure to share it.
Oh, absolutely, man. I appreciate your time.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate you asking us to be on.
You're welcome, guys. I'll see you at
Just
the
for
racetrack.
viewers, this is Flo4Law. Go
Love it.
check us out on Instagram.
Check them
We're
out.
gonna
Use
drop
them.
some videos out for them.
For
All right,
sure.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care now.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all.
Bye-bye.